The UK faces a glaring problem, a desperate need for more skilled workers. Brexit, shifting migration policies, and a changing global landscape have all contributed to this, leaving the nation scrambling to fill critical gaps across all of its industries. But what are these shortages and how do they affect the UK? In this video, we'll discuss the top 5 essential skills the UK desperately needs. Here we go. Number 5. Healthcare professionals. Let's start with healthcare, one of the most critical skills shortages in post-Brexit Britain. Since 2018 till now, the National Health Service, or NHS for short, has been struggling with unfulfilled vacancies. And in 2023 alone, these vacancies hit 121,000. Interestingly, nurses are amongst the hardest hit by this crisis, with about 50,000 roles currently unfilled. While that's bad enough, social care is in even worse shape. It has 152,000 open positions, creating serious gaps in support for elderly and vulnerable people. These shortages are not just administrative headaches, they also have dire consequences for patients, including longer wait times and reduced access to essential care. The truth is, Brexit has significantly worsened the situation. Before Brexit, thousands of healthcare workers, especially nurses, came from the European Union. Also, the UK's exit from the EU has introduced stricter immigration policies and uncertainty about working rights, discouraging many from applying. And even though the NHS has ramped up international recruitment from non-EU countries like India and the Philippines, it's not enough to close the gap. Poor pay and working conditions are another factor driving the crisis. A 2023 survey revealed that less than 1/3 of NHS staff were satisfied with their pay, and honestly, it's not hard to see why. When you combine low wages with chronic understaffing and incredibly high stress, you've just created the perfect recipe for burnout. As a result, the NHS saw 154,000 workers leave their jobs by September 2023 alone. The situation is even worse in social care. Almost double that number leave the sector that year. For many, the reasons for leaving are clear: burnout, feeling undervalued, and pay that just doesn't reflect the job demands. It's a cycle that's getting harder to break. Another major challenge in the healthcare sector is training and retention. It takes years to train doctors and nurses, and while the government has promised to double medical school slots by 2031, it will definitely not deliver results until years later. Other measures have been examined, though. For example, the NHS has tried to expand apprenticeship routes and recruit from underrepresented groups. Unfortunately, these efforts are slow-moving and often fail to address the immediate crisis. Technology has also been proposed as a solution, with investments in AI and telemedicine to reduce staff pressure. However, these advancements require skilled professionals to implement and maintain them, creating an additional demand for technical expertise within healthcare. In the meantime, the workforce gap continues to grow. According to current estimates, the UK will need an additional 76,000 nurses by 2031 to meet the demand. If the crisis isn't addressed, there will be serious consequences. Patients will face longer delays, social care users will go without support, and the system will crash. Overall, the healthcare shortage isn't just a sectoral issue, it's a national emergency. Without immediate and practical solutions, the NHS and social care system will remain under constant strain, leaving vulnerable populations at risk. For now, the UK remains reliant on international recruitment, but retaining staff will remain a major challenge without improved working conditions and better pay. While healthcare has continued to struggle, other essential sectors such as the agricultural sector are also experiencing crises. Number 4. Agricultural workers. For years now, the UK has been grappling with a severe shortage of seasonal agricultural workers. And since Brexit, the issue has only worsened. In 2020, Brexit ended the free movement of EU workers who previously made up the majority of the labour force in agriculture. This has had a damaging effect since seasonal labor is essential for planting, harvesting, and packaging crops. But many farms lack manpower during these critical periods, resulting in unharvested produce and financial losses. To address this, the UK introduced the Seasonal Worker Visa Scheme, allowing temporary workers to fill some roles. In 2024, the scheme provided 45,000 visas. Still, it fell short of the industry's needs. In fact, in 2023, despite efforts, many farms reported severe labor shortages. According to statistics, the workforce of EU nationals in agriculture dropped by 33% between 2019 and 2023. Interestingly, this decline was attributed to Brexit's stricter immigration policies and competition from other countries like Germany, which offered more attractive wages. Meanwhile, domestic recruitment was considered earlier but has proved ineffective. The reason is that seasonal farm workers are often physically demanding, temporary, and located in rural areas, making them unattractive to local workers. Also, recruitment campaigns through job centers, online platforms, and agricultural colleges have yielded little, and farmers ended up reporting that the applicants either don't show up or leave after a short period. The consequence? Huge losses. Some farms have even scaled back production, focusing on smaller markets instead of large-scale supermarket contracts due to a lack of workers. This not only reduces farmers' incomes, but also affects the food supply, increasing demand on imported goods. In fact, a National Farmers Union report estimated that £60 million worth of produce went unpicked in 2022 due to labour shortages. Interestingly, the government has explored automation as a solution, promoting technologies like robotic harvesters. However, these innovations are not yet advanced or affordable enough to replace human labor on a large scale. Therefore, the agricultural sector remains reliant on seasonal workers from overseas. This has led farmers to call for changes to the visa system, such as higher quotas, longer visa durations, and simplified reapplying processes. This seems like a good step because it's clear that without immediate intervention, the UK risks long-term damage to its agricultural sector. Sadly, as farms grapple with labour shortages to keep our plates full, the construction industry is struggling with a manpower crisis. From building homes to maintaining infrastructure, the need for skilled workers has never been greater, and the gaps have never been wider. Number 3. Construction workers. The sector needs an additional 266,000 workers by 2026, which translates to around 53,200 recruits each year. Sadly, this gap keeps widening across roles like electricians, bricklayers, carpenters, and civil engineers, critical jobs for building homes, repairing infrastructure, and meeting climate goals. So, what's driving this shortage? First, Brexit significantly reduced the number of migrant workers available. EU nationals used to be a huge part of the UK's construction workforce, particularly in hands-on roles. However, tighter visa rules and the uncertainty of Brexit caused a 42% drop in EU construction workers between 2017 and 2023. This has caused many companies to struggle to replace these workers, especially for roles requiring specialized skills. Secondly, the workforce is aging. The fact that over 22% of construction workers are over 50 and are now retirement age is concerning, and the worst part is that new talent isn't coming in fast enough to replace them, and apprenticeship numbers have remained low. In 2023, only 7,653 construction apprentices were completed in England, far fewer than needed to keep up with retirements and growing demand. Another significant issue is perception. Many people, especially young people, don't consider construction an attractive career path. It's often viewed as hard, physical labor with little room for progression, even though electricians and engineers can earn over $40,000 a year. This stigma has made it hard to bring fresh talent into the industry. Notably, the impact of this shortage is being felt everywhere. Housing projects are being delayed, worsening the country's housing crisis. Infrastructure developments like roads and renewable energy projects are also lagging, which could make it harder for the UK to hit its climate targets. Even day-to-day maintenance, like repairing buildings and public spaces, is being pushed back due to lack of available workers. So what's being done to fix this? Well, the industry is focusing on training and upskilling, with companies offering more apprenticeships and adopting new technologies like robotics and 4D simulation to increase productivity. And although these efforts are promising, they take time to show results. Meanwhile, some companies are calling for changes to visa rules to attract more skilled workers from overseas. The construction industry is vital to the UK economy, but projects will keep falling behind without immediate action and costs will rise. To close this gap, the government and the sector must work together to make construction careers more appealing, invest in training, and ensure immigration policies support the labour market. But for now, the skills shortage remains one of the biggest challenges facing Britain's construction sector. Number 2. Logistical and HGV drivers. Unfortunately, as construction sites stall due to a lack of skilled workers, another key sector, logistics, is also grinding to a halt. You would agree that behind every product on a shelf is an HGV, heavy goods vehicle driver. Yet these drivers are becoming harder to find, leaving supply chains on the edge. The reality is that supply chains in the UK have been thrown into chaos due to a massive shortage of logistics and HGV drivers. Again, at the heart of the problem is the loss of thousands of EU drivers after Brexit. Once a critical part of the workforce, many EU nationals left the UK during the pandemic and never returned due to stricter visa rules, increased red tape, and poor working conditions. In fact, out of the 14,000 EU drivers who left in 2020, only 600 had returned by mid-2021. The shortage isn't just about Brexit, though. The workforce is aging, with the average HGV driver over 50 years old. Sadly, younger workers are avoiding the sector due to the long hours, low pay, and a lack of decent facilities for drivers on the road. Training costs also act as a barrier, as it costs over £3,000 to get an HGV license, which many potential recruits can't afford. But what does this mean for the economy? For one, prices are rising. Same-day delivery costs have reportedly increased by 30%, and delivery delays are hitting everything from groceries to car parts and construction materials. Retailers are even offering bonuses of up to £5,000 just to attract drivers, but that's only a short-term fix. Meanwhile, unlike popular misconceptions, the logistics sector isn't just about moving goods, it's about keeping the country running. Take the fuel shortages of late 2021, for example. Panic buying at petrol stations happened partly because there weren't enough drivers to deliver fuel on time. Similarly, supermarkets have faced empty shelves and restaurants have struggled with supply disruptions, affecting everyone from businesses to everyday consumers. Notably, the government and industry leaders have been working on solutions, but progress could be faster. In 2023, the government invested £52.5 million to improve driver facilities, including better parking and rest areas. They've also launched HGV driver skills boot camps, aiming to quickly get new drivers on the road. Additionally, some are calling for visa reforms to attract foreign workers back to the UK. However, the long-term fix lies in changing the perception of the job. It's no fable that offering competitive wages and reducing extended hours would make the profession more appealing to younger workers. The logistics sector is the backbone of the economy, but without enough drivers, the system risks breaking down. While moving goods relies on drivers, driving ideas and innovation rely on tech specialists. And here's where the UK hits another snag: a critical shortage of technology and IT professionals. Number 1. Technology and IT professionals. The UK's tech industry, one of Europe's most dynamic and innovative, is grappling with a severe talent gap. Over 81% of UK businesses report that the lack of skilled IT and tech professionals has negatively impacted them. This is especially concerning as technological advancements like artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and cybersecurity demand experts to lead the charge. If you're wondering, I'll tell you why this gap exists. For starters, the rapid evolution of technology outpaces the rate at which schools and universities can prepare new graduates. Research shows that 31% of UK business leaders believe educational institutions aren't equipping students with the skills industries need. Another 30% say current curriculums don't adequately prepare individuals for entry-level tech roles. In addition, the competition from global tech giants and the high cost of living makes smaller UK businesses lose out on attracting the best talent. Some of the most in-demand roles include cybersecurity specialists, cloud architects, and developers' skills in programming languages like Python and Java. Employers are also in higher demand for professionals with data analytics, artificial intelligence, and DevOps expertise. For instance, cybersecurity expertise is critical as cyber threats become more sophisticated, yet 43% of businesses struggle to find candidates in this field. Meanwhile, Brexit has added another layer of complexity to the issue. The tightening of migration laws means fewer skilled professionals from the EU are entering the UK workforce. Previously drawn to London and other hubs, tech workers now face visa restrictions, making it harder for businesses to fill their roles. To combat the shortage, businesses invest heavily in upskilling and reskilling their existing workforce. Many are also turning to managed service providers to fill the gaps temporarily. Still, these solutions can only go so far if the clog in the pipeline of new talent is not addressed. Companies are now calling for stronger collaboration between governments, educators, and industries to promote tech education and ensure graduates are ready for the real-world challenges of the tech landscape. The stakes couldn't be higher. With tech driving nearly all industries from finance to healthcare, the UK risks losing its competitive edge if the gap isn't bridged. Solving the tech talent crisis must be a top priority for the nation to remain a leader in innovation. So there you have it, the top 5 skills Britain desperately needs. Which of these shortages has personally affected you or someone you know? Do let us know in the comments section. Also, if you liked the video, please support us by sharing it and subscribing to our channel if you haven't. See you soon.